Hey team, welcome to the Builders Ladder podcast that the top residential building company owners and general contractors listen to get their business ahead and buy back their time while earning more money. Here's what's in store today. So many people come to us and so many members and people who struggle to charge their worth and to really understand A, what is their worth, how much should they be charging, and then B, to really overcome that mindset shift that I'm worth this, I have to charge this to be able to create a great product and to provide a great service. How did you unlock that?
We're a blip on the ocean. We do 2 projects at a time, ranging from 5 to 10 mil, making 1% profit. And are we here to judge or to help? Help. Don't be embarrassed. It might not be your fault. You can make your gross profit change dramatically by it's like a light bulb moment. Really? Even when I'm sitting on the toilet, thinking about that concrete pour tomorrow, should I be getting paid? Yes.
The Builders Ladder is brought to you by The Professional Builder. Get proven systems and expert coaching to reclaim your time, make more profit, and build a systemized, profitable company that buys back your freedom. All right. Welcome to the Builders Ladder. We are here today with Stephen Mallinger. How you going, my man?
I'm great. Thank you very much for having me, Marty. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. It's so good to have you on the line. And what I'd like to do to kick off is just have you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, your background, and how did you get started in the construction sector?
Okay, I'll try and keep it short and sweet. I started as an apprentice at 16 from a failing school at a boarding school out of Barrow. Dad's a builder, dragged me, kicking and screaming onto site. Did that, did pretty well. I got Apprentice of the Year a couple of years. So I realized I'd found my calling, although I was fighting it for years, seeing how Dad operated his business. Then I went and built my own house at 20, went to uni at 23 for accounting because I didn't want to be a builder. Then the people that saw my house in the Blue Mountains, they said they loved it. Can I design them something and project manage it? And I said, yeah, let's rock and roll. I did that while I was at uni. So I was doing sort of uni and the building. And then at 25, I left the uni after 18 months and that's sort of 27 years ago. So that's sort of my journey. From 25 to almost 52 now, just sort of developing the business, changing, but it's still been predominantly in residential, a little bit of childcare, but predominantly in residential, moving into the higher end market, the sort of, I call the boutique type constructions, because high end now is almost everything. I feel that every client wants high end. That's a different, I think we've transcended that to sort of just to unique custom, high custom builds. So, and I'm loving it. Yeah.
It's a very young age to have the wherewithal or the thought process that you need to understand numbers and financials to, run a successful business. What was it that motivated you to shift away from working in building and go to university?
Well, I actually studied accounting, so that helped me get a nice base of the numbers. So I was always pretty good at numbers, terrible at English, terrible at writing. I'm sure I'm dyslexic. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm just terrible at anything written related. But numbers I've got a pretty good grasp on, and I sort of use that little bit of accounting. And look, I've made heaps of mistakes, Marty. From 25, the industry has evolved in 27 years. It's evolved so much with, compliance, the amount of litigation. 25 years ago, you'd sign a contract, you'd build it, and you'd walk away, and that was it. You never hear from the people again. Now you're getting defects from, it's changed so much. So I think I've just learnt on the run. So from 25 to 50, still learning and still evolving and still trying to keep up with the trends and the changes in the industry.
So tell us a little bit about the type of projects that you do. What are some of the highlights of projects that you've built, and what differentiates your company from others?
Well, the highest sort of spec homes that I've done were actually my own. So I felt that we were doing really great projects, and I said, well, I think I've got more in me. So I would then go and do, you call it a spec, you're a house that I lived in, and I detailed these homes quite, to the nth level, the quality. And I'd use that sort of as a a show of what we can do. I didn't immediately get given that opportunity to do that, because I think that's really tough for a lot of builders. They go, I'd love to do high-end building or custom. And they go, well, how do you do that? Like, do you just call an architect up and say, we do custom home buildings? And it's not reality. It's, if you're a bathroom renovator, deck out your bathroom to the nth level and then show people the quality of your bathroom. That's how I see it. Some people get the opportunity and they're the lucky ones. Not everyone does. So I went a little bit around the other way. I sort of did my own things. People saw what I did for myself. Then they gave me the opportunity to sort of do some amazing projects from there.
Yeah, you've won a lot of awards. Tell me a little bit about some of the projects, why you enter them, and what's the benefit to the company and to the sector of entering awards.
That's a real good question. I was sort of a bit reluctant to enter anything, because I'm in the market where there's some amazing builders, Boulevard, Candice and Co. They're amazing builders. I know them. I know some of them personally, and I just thought, especially for the Curl home, I go, look, it's good. I always thought it was good. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a really great design. I said, look, what have I got to lose? And I had another project in Mossman, which was waterfront, private beach. So I had two in the same category, and I go, look, if I can get a finalist with two projects in the same category, look, I'll be stoked. And then we were lucky enough to win the custom home under between 2 million and 4 million. And then that went on to win the custom for New South Wales. Then they entered all those into the mix for Australia, and we were lucky enough to win the Australian custom home, which, look, icing on the cake. I was happy with the first one. So it was, yeah. So
good. I'm looking through the awards here. HIA 2020, New South Wales region, custom built home, 2 to 4 mil, 2020 custom built home, and then home of the year. And then 2019, Forbes International Property of the Year. Now, Forbes, this sounds phenomenal. Tell me about this one.
This one was a client, he's quite well known. I'm not going to say his name. He's an absolute champion of a fellow and his wife too. They had a really tough time building this property in Mossman, neighbour disputes. I think we had a barrister one side, a CEO of a Fortune 500 on the other side. So a little bit of learning from my end building it. But they said to me, Steve, this, and I wasn't even thinking about awards. And they said, look, we're involved in this and that. He's quite in the mix with the top tier of people around the world. And he goes, let's enter it into the Forbes. And I go, mate, look, happy days. And he didn't, and we won it. So that was just that was guided by the client as opposed to me. And I was happy to sort of be part of it as well.
Well done. So good. And how do you drive your team for high-end finishes and ensuring that you've got the right guys? Because some guys are great at getting projects up out of the ground, some guys great at framing, some guys at finishing off. How do you ensure high-level quality without going throughout the project, throughout all your craftsmen, without blowing the budget out to a ridiculous, like 8,500 a square meter or so?
Well, we're up to sort of 12 to 15 per square meter. So yeah.
Okay.
So not, and again, like, I'm not making that money. So people get the illusion that just because we're charging more, we're making more. It's not. The cost of the guys is, you're quite right. We pay our guys, to the level they deserve. And I think everyone in the industry should be paid excellent. And I've said this 1,000 times, and my dad says, we should be paid, builders should be paid to the level of all other professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountant. We are professionals. So I don't have an issue charging accordingly to our expertise and liability too.
How did you adopt that mindset? Because so many people come to us, and so many members and people who struggle to, really charge their worth and to really understand, A, what is their worth? How much should they be charging? And we show them how to reverse engineer that with their profit goals. But then B, to really overcome that mental unlock or mindset shift that I'm worth this, I have to charge this to be able to create a great product and to provide a great service. How did you unlock that? Is it through financial hardship? projects going sideways or wanting to serve the upper end of the market?
It's a great question, and it's one that, everyone's journey will be different. I 100% agree. You can't just go, I'm now the top tier builder in my area, I'm going to charge this. It's an evolution. It's a progression of doing really good work, positioning. I mean, we talk about positioning with, I think that's one of the most critical things, position yourself in the market. And that can take time. And look, you have to go through trials and tribulations. You have to go through points where you may be not charging yourself for what you think, but it will come. And again, focus on doing the right thing. Have your systems in place. If you need help, get help. The key that I can bring is just try and avoid as many mistakes as you can. And look, and I think that's where I'm sort of, that's where I'm trying to sort of bring my skill set to help to the members.
Absolutely. And there's so many pitfalls and potholes on the road. And if you can transition from learning them your own through trial and error, or trial and terror, as we refer to it, as learning through others, through a community, through people who've achieved what you want, then it's going to be a lot less painful, and you can get there much faster by standing on the shoulders of giants.
Absolutely. And don't think that you know everything, which you don't. And don't think you need to do it all yourself. You don't. There's so many, I think maybe 27 years ago, I would say there probably wasn't. I don't think there was a, professional coaching system available there. So, and would I have been too arrogant or too headstrong to take that? I don't know. I mean, my 25 me is a bit of a different beast than the 52-year-old me.
Yeah. What do you think it is that stops people reaching out for help? Building company owners in particular. Is it they're not aware of it? Because a lot of people come to us and they're in one or two places. One, they don't know what to do and they're unsure how to improve their situation. Or two, they know what to do, but they're just not getting to it through either they're too busy, they don't have the right systems and processes, or the lack of awareness of what to actually implement in what order.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of everything, mate. I think a lot of people wouldn't even know this sort of service exists. So, with us getting out there and getting to the general community, the building community, the trade community, I think the more people know about it, the more people will use it. I mean, I don't think arrogance is one thing. I think it's more embarrassment could be too.
I think embarrassment gets beaten out of you, right? When you have a few financial falls and you have a few serious
making 1% profit. And are we here to judge or to help? But don't be embarrassed, because it might not be your fault. It may be just something that we just need to, we'll talk about that in the cost plus stuff, but, charging for certain things that, you can make your gross profit change dramatically by just charging for your time. If you're not charging for your time, it's like an explosion, a light bulb moment. Really? Can I? Even when I'm sitting on the toilet, thinking about that concrete pour tomorrow, should I be getting paid? Yes.
Exactly. And fortunately now, project management fees are far more prevalent and accepted and top of mind than they were even 2 to 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
So what has inspired you to help other builders and step into a specialty coaching role with TPB, and why now?
My company, for probably the last 10 years, has been running reasonably well without too much of my involvement. I've been involved I've had a labour hire company, a franchise that, then I had a couple of CrossFit gyms, did that. I've had Craig, I think I don't know, it could be 22 years. He's sort of my main man. Derek, another 12 years since an apprentice. I've got guys that, trust is one thing, but just a level of care that, they want to see everything go right, because it makes their life easy, makes my life easier. I don't try and get involved in their day to day. I'm there to help. So I'm sort of the problem solver, the troubleshooter. If it goes bad or it's going to go bad, I'm there to jump in. But if it's going good, just rock it on.
I think that's one of the biggest changes is as you grow your business, you go from being a player to a player coach to a coach, and knowing when to step in, and also being able to give your team the systems, process, and guidelines to let them take the field. And
absolutely. Yeah. And again, if you develop those over 27 years, great. If you want to develop them in 18 months, you might have to ask someone because yeah, and you'll probably get it better than I would have done over that period because, mine's a lot of mistakes too. Eventually you get to a point where you say, this is pretty sweet. And there'll be something still thrown in the mix that you go, oh, geez, didn't think of that one. I'll refine that again. So it's evolving, but having a real good base in your systems, your processes, I keep talking contracts, your contracts have to be on point. If you don't start with a phenomenal contract or a great contract structure that both parties understand, you're in for a rocky ride.
Absolutely. Yep, 100%. Pricing and contracts. And
pricing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And looking back over your career, what have been some of the biggest challenges, if you were to pick out the top 2 or 3, and how did you overcome those? Because quite often there's different phases, right? It might be getting off the tools. It might be moving into doing high-end custom homes. It might be taking on board a full-time QS in-house. It might be a project turns to custard and you got to dig yourself out of a 400K hole. What 2 or 3 big challenges have led to massive growth or massive mindset shifts?
Yeah, I think the few that you've just brought up they're pretty spot on. I think one of the big one was the costing. I used to I said we're mainly a cost plus contract company, and I do all my estimating, and I'm not great. I've never been great. I've hated it from day one. Probably 15 years ago, I was doing a development, and they had a QS that was doing all the bank settlements for each claim. And Andrew, for 15 years, he's been doing all my QS. He's positioned in the high-end residential market in Sydney. He's fantastic, great guy. And I rely on him to do the costing. So that was my biggest shift in, firstly, sort of disputes with me not pricing things correctly or missing things. And also just putting things at arm's length, say, well, you gave Andrew's got experience. I've studied building. I didn't study quantity surveying. I'm not QS. This is not my specialty. It's like an architect. I know a little bit about design, but I'm not an architect. I'm not going to give you design advice. I'll sort of guide you. So I think that was a massive change in my build. And again, I started quite young at 25. So being young was quite difficult. So for those younger builders who are sort of, I was quite a young-faced 25-year-old, and to try and get work against sort of some of the older guys was a challenge too. So if you're young, just back yourself. Show what you've done. Don't worry about your age.
Back yourself and have great marketing and a sales process to back it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about numbers, a little bit about pricing. What are some of your biggest lessons on team and systems?
Team, you can see from the age of how long they've been with me, sort of retain and train, if you can use the people that you've currently got and develop their skills. I've always said that even when I hire now, I don't hire on skill as much as attitude. I can't change someone's attitude. That's inbuilt. Yep. I can change their skill level. I know I can change someone's skill level. Attitude, that's impossible once you're done, especially early 20s, kid in his early 20s, and he's done. So I always say, so retain and train, just make sure that if you are employing new people, get them vetted, or make sure they're New Zealanders. I got a heap of New Zealanders. They're just the best guys, mate. They are.
And we just...
look, I don't want to rev it up, but, Matty from, I think he's Christchurch, he's just an absolute champ. We got his crane. We got a massive job at Seaforth that's got a 60-meter loofing crane. I said, Matty, do you want to get a crane license? He said, rock and roll. So he's my crane driver. I didn't have to hire a crane driver. Matty's does it. So
that's what we do. Turn our hands to anything. And what about as you're growing, how do you ensure that the leads keep coming in and that you have a good sales process that converts? What's the size of your business? So how many projects would you do during a year at the moment? And what sort of revenue is that? And then how do you keep the wheels running, the machine rolling?
That's a really good question. And look, we're a tiny company. I still say we're just we're a blip on the ocean. We do 2 projects at a time, ranging from 5 to 10 mil. We don't again, I'm not a great one as a guideline for sales and marketing, because we don't do any sales or marketing, because we only want people to find us through channels that they've already. So basically, a lot of the people that come to us, we've already got the job before we even meet them. So it's a little bit of a difference. So I wouldn't say the sales don't do what I do, but you can develop into it. But I have done marketing in the past. I've done a lot of magazines. There was space magazines. I have an Instagram, but I don't or I don't have anything. I just have really nice pictures. I've occasionally boosted posts on the Instagram, and I've got flooded with inquiries, which were 94% of them were just dreamers. So I stopped doing that. But in another market, that may be a great opportunity too. So I'm just and it's not being arrogant, it's just I'm just in a bit of a different spot, that we don't want to be running, 10, 15 jobs. We don't want to be quoting 10, 15 jobs. We just want someone to say, look.
Why is that? Is that because you want to do your own work and your own developments, and you also want to give back to the community with some coaching? Or is it, or you've been there, had a crack, and it's not the number that you wanted to climb?
Great question. Been there, done that a little bit. I tried that. I think we talk about the sweet spot in a business, and that's different for everyone. And now this is my sweet spot. I don't do a lot. I've got great people. I've got a 9-year-old son. He's my priority. So, that's where my priorities lie at the moment. It's not actually developing a business. Again, I have done it. I did enjoy it. I got to the point where I had sort of, 15, 20 guys and, running 6, 7 projects. And I think the monetary gains were pretty close to where I'm at now. So I just found my sweet spot. And look, that's different for everyone. And, you may have to go through that up, down, big, small. The numbers will tell you the story, and also how you feel as a person. And I'm feeling pretty good. And that's why now that I feel that I've got that time, I'm almost sort of, I wouldn't say bored, but I'm at that point where I really feel that my time can be utilized better somewhere else. And I think that's where the coaching is.
I love it.
Finding a perfect little niche for me.
It's a perfect segue. I love how you brought up time, because you've almost, what you're saying then, you've carved out the ideal lifestyle with other businesses, coaching, fitness. Tell us a little bit about, what does your week look like? Are you married? Do you have kids? What does a week look like, and a day in particular?
I have a partner. I've got a 9-year-old son, heavily involved in his sports. I mean, the kid's just nonstop. I sort of do jiu-jitsu with him. I do tennis with him. I row every morning just on my erg, just to sort of get the morning started. Or at night if I have a sleep in. I said my day would be, Keith is actually homeschooling at the moment. So I'm actually homeschooling him so you can see the amount of time I've got on my hands. But he goes back to school next year. That was just something that he asked me.
The first name Wicket?
No, Kiefer.
Kiefer, right. Okay, gotcha. As in Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, his grandfather's Austrian. So my dad's Austrian, and Kiefer's, it means pine tree in German. So it's just I think it's a great name. I love it.
Awesome.
So yeah,
absolutely. So do you have specific days that you work on the business? What are you doing? Are you coaching the team? Are you pricing jobs? Are you overseeing projects? Are you what does that side look like?
Yeah, so I do every second Thursday. I have a design meeting with one of my projects, and I go and have a look at the other project, which is just around the corner. I would speak to Craig, I'd say every day, and we do that just because I like chatting to him. He's sort of the construction manager foreman on one of the biggest sites. I just sort of, I think my phone call goes, "Hey Craig, all going okay?" And he goes, "Yep." I said, "You need me to do anything?" "No." "All right, see ya."
Yeah, that's a good one. And also then trust, but verify, or inspect what you expect. And what we have, a lot of our members do, is red, green. So we don't need to talk about the green numbers.
Yep.
If everything's smooth, it's only the red ones that you need to bring up with PSR, problem, solution, recommendation.
Yep.
And, hey, explain, this number's red. Hey, labor hours are off. Here's what we're going to do to get back on track.
Yep. And again, same with, because we do cost plus, that's sort of as not critical. It's more just the client management, the subcontractor procurements, so like if someone hasn't come back, I'll do a little, "Hey buddy, get to site." But I rarely have to do that now, because all our subbies are the same. They've been with us for 10, 15 years as well. So it's basically I wouldn't sort of, I don't think we use the family, but we're a team. We're, that sporting team analogy, we're all just, pumped for the same goal. A lot of my subbies are quite young. They can see an avenue with being with our company to excel. They also use me as I'm doing this company for this company. And they go, well, come and do work for us. So sometimes now I have to wait for them because of but that's life as well,
Nice. I love it. So tell me a little bit about what are some specific tools or strategies around the cost plus model, and why are you doing that model instead of fixed price?
So,
give us an overview, some examples, why that model, and some tools that would help people.
Yeah, for sure. So the cost plus model started very early on. Even when I was doing sort of renovations, I would find that the labor, and every builder will say the same, controlling labor hours is the biggest challenge of any business. You can get a fixed subby, you can get fixed materials, you can lock in your percentages, all the easy stuff. We were doing more complicated work. So I was finding that it didn't matter what I did, I couldn't cost these things accurate. And if I did, the number was just astronomical because I couldn't just, and putting contingency. So what I'd go to the clients and said, look, we have two options. We can put contingency on a contingency and then put another contingency on it, or you can just pay what it actually costs. And they go, well, what do you mean? And I just said, well, we'll show you, we've got a site diary that gets emailed to you every day. You can see who's on site. We'll have pictures. I said, everything's transparent. If we buy a $5 box of nails, you get charged for a $5 box of nail plus my margin, which is already pre-negotiated. It's either fixed or it's based on a percentage. And people, that transparency is sort of resonates with a lot of people, especially when the quality is I talk about the triangle, quality, cost, and time. You can't have them all. You
can have two of the three.
You give me two, and I'll give you. And my client base it's very rarely cost. What it'll be, we want this amazing product, but we want to get into our house as soon as we can. And I'm going, well, look, you've picked your two. So I think for cost plus, where quality is sort of paramount.
I was just about to say that. I think that model works really well in the higher end and custom and bespoke model.
Sure.
How do you think it works in the lower to mid end?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I said, I wouldn't do it. I said, unless you're, doing high spec decks or high spec, you fix it and get in and get out. So that's why when I'm saying, even with the members or with the any stuff that I'm going to be involved with, I'm not telling you that this is the be of this. You have to find your position in the market, and then especially when you got labor hours that are almost impossible to. Because my argument's always, you're getting us to build this unique home. No one's ever built this before. It's not a McDonald Jones or a Metricon or whatever company, volume builder. They know every cent that goes into everything. So that they know their margin. And usually it's quite a low margin because of the volume. I'm saying we have no clue. I call it a guesstimate. People call it an estimate. I just call it a guesstimate. Like, even a QS, how long does it take to build something that's never been built before? It's unfair. It's basically unfair. So my question is, with fixed on something, you'll win some and you'll lose some. You may make a little bit more on one, you may lose a little bit on the other. Where I'm saying we never lose. We never lose money, ever. Yeah. We just make the same margin, sometimes a little bit lower because based on the size of the project. Sometimes a little bit higher. If it's a bit smaller, we charge slightly higher margins, reduce the risk, but you also reduce the potential of higher margins. So you got to find as I said, you got to find what's best for you and for your positioning in the market.
Absolutely. What about managing your team and managing your subcontractors? Do they sign off their own work? Are they signing subcontractor agreements with you pertinent to every new project cut? What are some of the nuts and bolts of that?
Yeah, look, in the past, I have done that when I've used subcontractors that are sort of new and have been untested. I'd be saying now we don't do that as much due to the relationships. Look, I still think it's a good idea. Like, I wouldn't say not to do that, purchase orders and all this sort of things. as because we are quite a small company, it's quite easily controlled because we're only doing 2 projects. If you're doing 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, it's a different beast. We're tiny, so we can, my subbies are calling me if they need something. I know every invoice that's going in because they're all usually large. They always quote, they run, any variations comes through the office to get approved. Even on Cost Plus, that's a big thing with Cost Plus that people sort of miss the boat with variations, scope changes and change orders. You need to process them identically to fixed price contracts.
Absolutely. And are they done at the same margin? Because quite often in fixed price contracts, some builders will post the variations and change orders at a higher rate.
Yeah. Fixed. I think that's the reality of that is a lot of companies are variation based, so that's where they make the money. Is what I'm saying.
Won the job. Now let's make some money.
Yeah. Especially commercial, going in at 1% and then coming out at 8 or 9, and that's variation. So we don't do that. We don't call it variation either, because I think variation's a misleading term in Cost Plus. We just say it's a change of scope. It's not a variation. You haven't varied anything because there's no additional. It's all on the same billable rate. All it is a change of scope, and we get this change of scope approved, and then that just goes in the billing cycle. It doesn't come out of the wash. We don't usually fix price it. I mean, some people could do that. They could fix price change of scopes. We just let it all run at the same margin. It gets very confusing. It muddies the water when you get some parts fixed price. That's why the fixed price contract with provisional sums, it can be a messy contract, because there's what was fixed, what was not fixed. So what I'm saying, this model, and we'll see on the blueprint of the Cost Plus, that there are ways of managing that you can almost have a fixed price contract doing it Cost Plus. You just have to structure in a way that, your client's happy, you're happy.
Absolutely. So you've had your team for a long time and had your contractors and subcontractors with you for a long time as well. What's your approach to leadership and building a great team? How do you instill the vision, and then how do you get everyone on the bus and maintaining high performance?
I think the work has a little bit of the quality of work resonates with certain contractors and others it doesn't. I think the people who do high-end residential, the contractors who do high, they're not after the incredible returns. They're not wanting to rip anyone off. They just want to do really nice work. So their mindset, I think you've already got them in a similar mindset that let's do a phenomenal job. Let's make good money. Let's not rip anyone off, and let's go to the next one and just keep doing this until we want to retire. So not make heaps, then not have work, going to 17 different builders. I pay my guys, obviously sometimes, money changes hands a bit slower sometimes, but ultimately they put an invoice in, it gets paid, like it's, within 5 days or even less. If I'm on the computer, I'll pay it. So that's a huge factor, is ensuring that your subbies are paid as per their terms or even better. Just keep everyone happy, especially if they're doing the right thing as well.
Absolutely. What are some of the areas that you'll be able to really help impart some golden nuggets, some battle scars, and some ways of avoiding wounds to our members and builders in general going forward?
I think, as we've discussed, Cost Plus is sort of my little niche. Hopefully that I can answer any question, and if I don't have an answer, I'll get it. Due to 27 years of building, conflict resolution, litigation, unfortunately, that's part of the high end. I'm working for very wealthy people who think, financial bullying's just, that's a fun little byproduct of, having money. So being cautious, being understanding, have a base knowledge what you can and can't do. Look at things from both sides. Always if there's ever a conflict, look at their side too. I think that's a primary, just in any legal reasoning, just make sure that don't set your blinkers on. Look at how they're feeling too. And then you go, okay, we can find somewhere in the middle. Don't just go out that I'm right. There's always two sides to the stories, and you'll find the happy ground before you have to go to litigation or arbitration.
Yeah, I think contract law is going to be one of your assets.
Yeah, And I love it too. I generally enjoy it. Not for myself, but for other people to help and guide. It's more fun, more enjoyable.
Exactly. And what excites you most about being part of the TPB coaching team and helping builders throughout New Zealand, Australia, and the US as well?
Well, meeting the members is fantastic. Even just in the small amount of meetings that I've done, just as you called them, the gold nuggets, to throw the silver bullets or gold nuggets, and you just see that, oh shit. That's like, yeah, bro. Yeah, we got it. Or the ladies too. We've helped a few of the wives that help as well. That's super rewarding. And working with this team, like, it's only been sort of 3 weeks. The team's amazing. Like, there's nothing missing. Like, I'd go, oh yeah, this guy's not, or this girl's not. You just got winners throughout. Like,
we've built such a world-class team.
I would agree. And again, like, I think my speciality is there, but then I look at some of the other, performance coaches and go, shit, those guys there. It just, I know what I can help. But you got such a good base. Congrats to you too. I mean, the company's fantastic. And I'm happy to be part of a fantastic company, because I think that's, I wouldn't want to be something that, is a short term, just slap and dash, but you guys have got the vision, you got the procedures. This is rocking and rolling.
I appreciate that massively.
Yeah, no problem.
If there's one golden nugget or overarching principle that you would leave with people that they could take away that could help them, what would that be?
I'd strip that down. I know you're big on pricing, and again, fixed pricing, that's important. Me, it's contracts. Understand your contracts, read it, go through it with your client. Don't just slap that thing on in front of them and get it signed and then go on your merry way and expect that it's all going to sit down, go through clause by clause. It'll take you now. It could take 2, whatever it takes. Go through everything. And they go, well, I didn't know that. And you go, well, this is how we deal with that. Or this is how we deal with variation. This is extensions of time. The clarity that I've found by going through contract, a lot of our contracts have special conditions of, 15 pages. So we go through everything. We've had a 7-hour Zoom meeting with one of the clients to understand. Yeah, no. It had to get broken down in maybe not 7 hours, but it was like, it must have been 4+ hours. And then we had to do it the next day. So understand your contract. So take it, strip it all back. If you have there's still things that can go wrong, but if you have a good base, a good contract, the right type of contract for the client and the job, that would be my parting wisdom, is if you get everything set up from the start. It's like the foundation of a house. You build it right. You build your foundation. It should all go right. If your foundation for a contract's not right, you're off to a losing battle.
Absolutely. It's like reverse engineering building a house. It's like, what's the outcome that we want? What are the pillars that we need in place? Yep. What are the fundamentals that are going to mitigate risk as well as maximize upside? And quite often there's a lack of knowledge around how do I mitigate risk. And so I think that's one of our first things is, sure, we can help you grow the beans, but let's help you first keep the beans that you have and not have those get moldy or fall at the bottom of the bag.
It's the reaction or proactive, be reactive or proactive. Like, I think my 27 years has been quite reactive because it's just the way it's happened because of my lack of knowledge and my learning. But, get proactive, get some training, get some coaching, get into a group of people, like-minded people that can sort of support, advise, guide, ask for help when you need it. I mean, this is this simple stuff.
And I think, how can people get hold of you or access you? I think we're going to be doing specialty coaching sessions, some podcasts, some webinars, maybe even boardroom session with our higher tier members.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be doing some, what are they called? The hot seat.
Hot seats.
The hot seat. We'll probably have a hot seat after the Cost Plus because I'm sure there'll be some additional questions. I'll be on Facebook. I've got the email, even through your performance coaches. If you've got any questions specific, I've been already chatting to some of the performance coaches with specifics on Cost Plus. You can find me. I'm there and you'll get an answer post haste.
Absolutely. All right, Stephen, thank you very much for your time today. Go and choke someone out or go pull some meters on the erg.
Sounds awesome. Thanks heaps for your time, Marty.
Appreciate you.
See you next time.
Right, have a great day. See you,
care.
Steve.
Bye.
Bye.
Want to go more in depth on today's topic and buy back more time whilst earning more money? Get a free business health audit and plenty of free resources over on our website, theprofessionalbuilder.com.